everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So I've read 17 books this year so far, so I'm going to tell you guys which ones I love and which ones I'd recommend. The first question is, what's the best book you've read so far in 2025? For me, it's Shark Heart by Emily Habeck. I read this on vacation. I listened to the audiobook and I had to purchase the physical copy because I want to go back and read it. This book was so good. Number one, the format was different, and the chapters were pretty quick, so I feel like it's easy to get through. It made me feel a lot of emotions, and definitely the best book I read this far, 5 stars. Alright, the second question is, what is the best sequel I've read in 2025? And we all know where this is going. Of course, Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping. I do have a vlog if you want to know more about this book, but this was also a 5-star read. The third question is, what is a new release that I want to read this year? And that is Things in Nature Merely Grow. This book is actually it's a memoir about a mother of 2 kids who committed suicide. It's a pretty short read. I got it on Libby. I'm just waiting in line for my hold, but I think it's going to be a really interesting read. So I will update you guys about that. Number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for 2025? And this was actually just announced. It is Matthew McConaughey's Poems and Prayers. I read his autobiography last year and it was so good. So I'm excited to read this one, and Books A Million has where you can get an autographed copy, and I'm thinking about pre-ordering that. Number 5 is, what is your biggest disappointment in terms of books this year? And it's actually the first book I read, which was Axiom by Madison. I'd been wanting to read this because it was just a new dystopian book, and I saw that it was on Kindle. The second book was on Kindle Unlimited, so I was like, okay, let me buy the first book and then I'll read the second book after. Barely got through the first book. I think I rated it like 2 stars, so it was a pretty big disappointment, but I don't know, maybe this second book is better, but I just could not. The main character was irritating me so bad. Number 6 is, who is my favorite new author, debut author, and that goes to Emily Habeck. Again, this is her first book. I'm super excited to see what she releases in the future, because I feel like this being your first work is crazy. Like, it was so complex, and her writing was so digestible but deep. Like, the amount of quotes I say from this, ridiculous. So definitely a new favorite. Number 7 is, what is the biggest surprise? And I read this one on my Kindle. It was The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This was such a big surprise because it had such an impact on me that I went and read. Alright, sorry, my card got full, my storage got full, so I had to go delete some stuff. But anyway, let's pick up. We were talking about The Poppy War. Yeah, it led me to read a history book, so that's why I think it's the most surprising. So yeah, The Poppy War is based off of this event. And I didn't know that it was a real event, so I was like, oh, let me go research that, because it was unbelievably sad and horrifying, but it's also good to know, what has happened in past history. The 8th question is, what is a book that made you happy? And that's going to go to The Light Through the Leaves by Glendy, Vanderah. I've read one of her books before, and she has such a way of writing, like, nature scenes and, like, making the whole thing just atmospheric, and she adds a little touch of, like, kind of like magic to the story, but it's not. I feel like it's kind of hard to explain what her books are about, but if you like found family, you like stories about nature, like the nature having a big part and play and role in these, I think you would like it. A lot of family drama. This book does have, I think, if I remember, a lot of trigger warnings, so just look those up before you read it, but I really enjoyed it, and I think I gave it 4 or 4.5 stars. So, okay, number 9 is a new fictional crush. I don't really have fictional crushes. I haven't read a book that made me be like, I love this character, but recently I finished The Bodyguard by Catherine Center, and there was this specific quote that had me swooning. So we'll say that he's my fictional crush. And number 10 is your newest favorite character, and it's a character from The Poppy War. It is, I do not know how to pronounce it, so forgive me, Zia. He was Rin's teacher. He reminds me of Jiraiya from Naruto. Not necessarily in how they act, but just like the way they look. That's who I was always picturing. And I just liked his energy. He was different. Yeah, I don't know. He's just my favorite. Number 11 is a book that made me cry. I love books that make me cry. This was a 5-star read. I read it on my Kindle. It was Saving Noah by Lucinda Berry. This book is very tricky because it's about this mom whose son is a pedophile. And just know, it's already hard to like digest, and like you're in the mom's point of view. It's just very difficult to read because it's such a taboo and hard situation. And just know the ending is gonna wreck you if you decide to read it. So, alright, so number 12 is, what is the most beautiful book you've bought this year or been given? And earlier this year I bought the deluxe edition of The Hunger Games, so you've probably seen these a lot, but they're so pretty. The covers have a little bit of foiling on them, and then of course sprayed edges, all different colors. I don't know which one is my favorite because they're just all so pretty. but you know, I'm kind of biased with this one because it has the quote, "If we burn, you burn with us," which is iconic. So, and the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I have 3 of them. One of them I've had on my TBR for like 2 years, I think, and it is Gleanings. These are short stories that follow the series Arc of a Scythe, and I love that series. But like I said, it's just a bunch of short stories, so I'll read it every once in a while. But I think I'm over halfway through, so I really gotta lock in and finish it this year. But I feel like if I finish it, then that's like the end of the universe, so it's like a bittersweet thing. And then there's another series I want to read by the end of the year, and it is The Fifth Wave by Ricky Yancey. There's a 3rd book too, but I only have the first 2. I got them at Goodwill, so steal. But they're really long, but it's a dystopian book about basically the world ending and these different, like, I think plagues coming every wave. And I think it turns into like an alien invasion or something like that. So it sounds really interesting, different from what I've read so far, because I don't think I've read about aliens, except maybe in Glendy Vanderah's book, but you gotta read that to understand that. But anyway, I definitely want to finish these. So that is it for my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you have read any of these books or any answers to any of the questions. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!